All right, let's jump straight into this explainer. Today, we're exploring how a really unique app takes the fleeting, super fragile nature of our everyday memories and turns them into a permanent, highly accurate digital record. We're going to be breaking down a system called TapMyNotes and looking at how it completely rethinks the whole concept of journaling our lives. Okay, quick experiment. I want you to think back to your absolute favorite moment from last year. You got it? Now, without looking at your camera roll or your diary, can you vividly recall the exact who, what, when, where, and why of that specific moment? Honestly, probably not. The truth is, human memory is notoriously short-lived. We keep the broad strokes, sure, but those vivid, precise details, the exact time, the specific geographic spot, they fade away incredibly quickly. And that really brings us to the core philosophy of this app, which is perfectly captured in a quote straight from the developer documentation. If you miss it, you just can't make it up. It's so true, right? Certain details of an event are just incredibly fragile. You literally have to capture them in the very moment they're happening, or that precise objective data is just lost to the past forever. So how exactly does TapMyNotes solve this fading memory problem? Well, it boils every single memory down into three fundamental pillars. You have time, which is the when. You have location, which is the where. And then you have a text note, which acts as the what. By instantly locking down these three pillars, a totally everyday event suddenly becomes a permanent, undeniable record. Section 1. Organizing your life's taps. Now, if you want to record a memory quickly, it needs to have a logical home already waiting for it. Because of that, the app operates on an open, highly customizable framework. First, you define your broad interests. The app calls these tap entities. Think of big buckets like outdoors or work. Then you drill down into specific tap items like running or meetings. And finally, when the actual event is happening, you simply record the tap. The whole setup works kind of like a funnel. A broad category like outdoors smoothly funnels right down into running, which is exactly where all your individual time-stamped taps live. It's a beautifully clean, logical structure. The whole point is so you aren't fumbling around trying to organize your thoughts while the actual moment is slipping away. You do the structural heavy lifting beforehand. Think about the preparation phase versus the action phase. First, you're thoughtfully setting up your entities and items, maybe categorizing your health routines or travel logs. Then comes the moment of truth, the actual tap action. You hit running, and boom, a pop-up instantly appears, automatically calculating the exact duration and distance since your last run. It's totally seamless. What's absolutely crucial to understand here is the stark difference in how the app handles different types of data. Once you grant permission, time and place are automatically pulled from your device's sensors. These are completely immutable anchors, meaning they literally cannot be edited or changed later. They are objective reality. But the text descriptions, that's your subjective experience. You can go back and edit or flesh those out anytime you want. Section 2. Anchoring time and space. Let's dig into exactly how the app anchors your experiences, starting with time. It gets ridiculously precise. It calculates the exact duration since your last tap in a specific category, say exactly 40 days and 18 hours. Even better, starting in version 2.0, the app actively records time zone data. So if you travel internationally, you'll still view your past taps in their original local time. It perfectly preserves the context of when that event actually happened, no matter where in the world you're standing today. And then, of course, we have the location data. The app pulls exact GPS coordinates to give you a ton of rich data. For example, a tap in Banff National Park might have an accuracy of just 5 meters. And because the app strictly saves the raw geographic coordinates, the latitude, longitude, and altitude, this memory is completely immune to the future. If a local government decides to rename the street or change the postal boundaries 10 years from now, it doesn't matter. Your memory is pinned to the earth itself. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, doesn't pulling highly accurate GPS coordinates all the time completely drain my phone's battery? The developers were definitely aware of this. The app is actually highly efficient. Location services only kick on when you actively open the tap view. It just waits those few crucial seconds for the GPS accuracy to stabilize before you make your tap. And the second you close the view, the sensors completely shut off. Section 3. The China GPS Map Quirk. Okay, this next part is a fascinating geographical and digital puzzle the developer actually ran into. Global GPS satellites operate on a universal standard coordinate system, which is known as WGS-84. However, Due to domestic regulations, digital maps used within mainland China are legally required to use a completely different coordinate system called GCJ02. This discrepancy creates a massive visual shift when you try to translate standard global GPS data onto a Chinese digital map. How big of a shift are we talking about? Well, during a trip to China in 2026, the developers suddenly realized their taps were showing up anywhere from 100 meters to a full kilometer away from where they actually stood. To fix this wild glitch, starting in version 2.3, the app automatically converts the coordinates depending on where you are currently viewing the map. But, and this is key, it strictly preserves the true global WGS84 data underneath in your actual database. The tricky thing is that the numbers for both of these systems look exactly identical. It's literally impossible to know which system you are looking at just by glancing at the digits. To solve this, the app smartly adds a clear bracketed suffix directly to the location block. This instantly lets you know when the mainland China GCJ02 system is actively being displayed. And for the power users, or really anyone who frequently travels near China's borders where GPS signals might cross boundaries and get a bit confused, they included a manual override switch right in the settings. This guarantees your coordinates are always pinned exactly where they belong. It's all about giving you total control over the accuracy of your own location data. Section 4. Adding context with notes. Let's shift gears away from the cold, hard numbers of time and space and talk about the actual soul of the memory. Yes, timestamps and GPS pins are absolutely vital, but typing your own thoughts in the moment is what provides the crucial context. It's the what that brings back the why. Without your personal notes, you're honestly just staring at a sterile list of coordinates and times. The app makes adding this context as frictionless as possible. A pop-up lets you start typing the absolute second after you make a tap. You can even copy-paste notes to act as defaults for recurring events. These text notes act like essential little hints, completely transforming what would be a boring database into a highly searchable, deeply personal journal of your career, your health milestones, or your travels. Section 5. Total control and privacy. When you are building an incredibly personal, day-by-day archive of your life, rock-solid security isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a necessity. The developers are super firm about this. The app strictly follows Apple's privacy framework. Location tracking is fully optional on a category-by-category basis. Most importantly, every single piece of this data is saved locally on your device. It is never, ever transferred to a third-party server. You can bulk delete your data if you really want to, but the app warns that this carries a high risk, because once it's wiped from your device, it's truly permanently gone. And honestly, that is incredibly empowering. As the documentation puts it, you solely own and use this data, exactly like you own the physical device in your hand. There is no corporation mining your memories to target you with advertising data. This digital archive of your life belongs entirely and exclusively to you. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought. What fleeting moment of your life will you choose to make immutable today? We all experience thousands of these brief, beautiful moments every single week that just quietly slip through the cracks of our memory. But with the right structure, you actually have the power to preserve them perfectly. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.